Alright, my first movie review, and if there are those people out there, some of my subscribers that are going, man, all this guy talks about is video games. Man, it's just Kingdom Hearts and video games. All this guy talks about, and Legend of Korra. Well, I'll have you know, if there's one thing in this world that I'm a bigger fan of than video games, it's film. I love film. I have been a huge film fan since I was a little kid, and my passion for it has just grown exponentially for it over the years. And really, I'm a film nut. And it's kind of odd that I have this film as my first, but you know, hey, at least we're starting. I'm finally gonna, because really in September I didn't have enough time. I really didn't have enough time or the finances to go out and see that many movies. I really only saw one film in theaters during September, and it was The Wizard of Oz in IMAX 3D, which was pretty fucking awesome. So it's so nice to be seeing movies again. Actually, I take that back. This did come out in September, but you know, it's October now, so you know, what the hell. And my first film that I want to review on my channel is Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs 2. And this is Let me start with, I really liked the first film, and it was a really nice surprise because a lot of these movies that are adapted from very short kids books like The Grinch and Cat in the Hat and Lorax or Polar Express, Zathura, can lead to some pretty disastrous results because you have to put in filler. You cannot tell a story told in like 10 to 15 pages with pictures. You can't tell it in an hour and 20-minute, 30-minute film without putting in filler and adding new stuff. You simply can't do it. And really, with the first one, they did an excellent job of making it with new ideas that weren't in the original book, and they blended it in really well with what was in the book, and it was a neat movie. It was a nice surprise because I really was not expecting anything good, and then I heard about how, oh well, it's actually really cool. It's a great little animated film that will unfortunately go unnoticed in 2009, which was a fantastic year for animation. I mean, man, you had Mary and Max, which a lot of people don't know about. You had Fantastic Mr. Fox, which was amazing. And you had Up, my favorite movie of all time. So, Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs was that underrated film in 2009. It was really good. And the second film, and you knew there was going to be a second film because this film was actually the first one was a big commercial success. So you knew there was going to be a second one. And it was a matter of if they could repeat the magic from the first film. And unfortunately, the answer is no. Is it a bad movie? No, absolutely not. Far from it. Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs 2 is okay. It's an okay sequel to a big surprise. And I actually was kind of disappointed with this film because I was hoping that they'd be able to recapture the cleverness and just the energetic madness of the first film. And I think part of that problem is that Phil Lord and Chris Miller, who are the writers and directors of the first film, were not on board with the sequel because they were off doing the Lego Movie, and then they're doing the sequel to 21 Jump Street, which another adaptation that really was not expected to be any good and turned out to be really good. 21 Jump Street. These guys have a very, very high gift for comedy, and which is really, it's very rare, and it's very true. What Siskel and Ebert used to say, it's a much harder to make a comedy than it is to make a drama, because you have to keep people laughing on a consistent basis without blowing your wad way too early on. And Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs and 21 Jump Street and the Lego Movie, another one, which is like, how did that look any good? It does. These guys are very talented comedy writers. Now, unfortunately, the people that wrote the second film do not have that spark of comedic talent that Phil Lord and Chris Miller had. So, let me just explain the plot of this one. Okay, so it takes place almost immediately after the first film. And Flint Lockwood is tasked by some this genius billionaire idol of his that's obviously a parody of Apple and Steve Jobs, to go and recover the machine that was left back at his hometown when it just went way out of control, and now he has to journey back to Shallow Falls to recover this machine and to stop potentially this food invasion of other worlds, where like the food have literally become living, breathing food, and they're going to invade other places like Paris and London and India. So we're gonna have to save the world and stop this food. So they go back to the island, and the island is pretty much like it's the Jurassic Park of food, or it's these tons and tons and tons of different kind of animals, which was really, if there's one big compliment that's consistent from the first film to here, it's the animation is so good, and it's really badass eye candy, and it's bright, it's colorful, and it's stunning to look at. And there's a lot of stuff going on in the foreground and the background, so you need to, if you want to get all the stuff, like all the little in-jokes and all the little like just things going on in the background, you need to watch this more than once if you want to do that. And so also the voice work is still good from the first movie. I mean, you've got Bill Hader back as Flint Lockwood. He's still very funny. Anna Faris as Sam Sparks. She's just as bright and chipper as she always is. And James Caan is still Flint Lockwood's dad, and he's funny. Neil Patrick Harris as Steve the Monkey is awesome. And instead of Mr. T for the cop, you got Terry Crews now. And I didn't think he was as good as Mr. T, but he was still funny. And you've got Will Forte, who, if I remember, he's on SNL, he was MacGruber. He's Chester V, the very obvious just parody of Steve Jobs and Apple, the Apple idea. And those are actually really funny. And another thing, this movie is very, very funny. At the beginning, where like it's the same kind of mad humor from the first film, where it's just jokes just coming at you at this insane speed where you can't even comprehend it all. And there's just stuff that has just made me like laugh out loud at how funny, just how random a lot of these jokes are. And the way that Chester V is animated, to where his arm movements and his hand movements are just so weird, and it's just such a strange way to animate. It's such a funny way to animate this character, and it really, I love how this animation tells us a lot about this character. It's a big giveaway to his personality, and it was such a genius way to animate this guy, who's this ginormous egomaniac genius inventor, and it was awesome. Also, you've got the food. And the food animals, it's so creative. These guys must have had a fucking blast coming up with different kinds of animals you can make out of food. Like you've got like these cantaloupe things that are cantaloupes, haha. And of course you've seen the trailer, the Tacodile Supreme. You got these frogs that look like a stick of butter. You got mesquite toast, which uh, you know, it's funny. And also, Barry, that cute little strawberry that you see in the trailer, I love that little thing. He is like the best. Well, I don't know if it's a he or she. I'm gonna guess it's a he. The best character in this whole movie. It's such a cute little strawberry, and I love strawberries. I love strawberries. This cute little strawberry. I don't buy. I've grown out of stuffed animals and plush toys, but someone please find me a plush toy of Barry. I want one because it's so cute. And that's another compliment I want to give to this movie. This film is cute. So fucking cute. It's overwhelmingly cute. But it actually works here, and it doesn't piss you off or distract from the story like it did. And I'm sorry, a lot of you are going to get mad at me for saying this. I thought Despicable Me 2 went incredibly overboard with cute. Because it was annoying as hell. That movie was annoying with the cuteness factor. This wasn't. This was actually pretty damn charming with its cuteness. And also, there's some really nice nods. Like I mentioned, this island is basically the islands from the Jurassic Park movies. And they have some nice little nods to Jurassic Park, which are actually pretty clever. And there are some fun action scenes here. They don't top the final action scene in the first film, but they are fun and they are funny. And here's where, and now I want to talk about the big problem I have with this movie. It really, really lost me in the middle. And this is going to be a somewhat spoiler, because I haven't seen. The only trailer I saw is when they, like the first trailer. I haven't seen any of the new ones, but I'm getting really, really sick of these plots where you have a hero who finally gets to meet his idol, and he turns out to be like a shady kind of villain guy. And he goes, well, listen to me, kid. Your friend, see those friends over there? They're just holding you back. They're gonna stab you in the back, man. You gotta listen to me. I mean, you've only personally met me for, like, I don't know, a couple minutes, and I've been not very nice to you, but still, don't listen to your friends. Listen to me. And then the hero goes, yeah, my friends are holding me back. So he becomes an enormous asshole and just turns on his friends, and his friends go, huh, or his friends and love interest in this case, to go, huh, and they just walk away, and then he has to go unfuck himself by being apologetic and being the hero and stuff. And I am so tired of these kind of plots, because one, they're overdone. Two, in this case, it is so out of character for Flint Lockwood to be this enormous asshole to his friends, especially Sam, which he spent the whole first movie drooling over her, and then just to come out of the blue and be like, oh, yeah, there is no us anymore, it's just me. It's so out of character for Flint, and that really bugged me, because I saw where this was going, and as soon as that the villain goes, oh, well, you know, your friends are kind of holding you back, I knew exactly where this was going to go. And I kind of just slunk back in my seat like, oh, great. Okay. Alright, well. Alright, I guess we're going to have this kind of story. And it is. It's very predictable at that point. And I also got really bored during the middle. And I almost fell asleep. I never get tired during a movie. Even if it sucks, I always try to stay awake. And I always succeed. Here, it was very close to where I was like, oh god, I hope this is over soon, because I'm getting tired of this plot. The jokes aren't that funny in the middle. The energy and creativity from the beginning really was just sucked dry in the middle by a very just tiresome and routine plot device, where it just was just dead on arrival. The middle, it was pretty damn boring, and I actually was starting to think to myself, I wish this will be over soon, because I want to go home now. I don't feel like sitting here anymore. And thankfully, it does pick up at the end, and it gets back to the fun of the beginning, but it's still not enough for me to really enjoy it as an overall package, because man, that middle was boring. Damn. And I wish it wasn't, because I was getting it, I was really enjoying it at the beginning, and then it just lost me in the middle. And I really am just... Sometimes also, it can become way too hectic with its humor. I mean, I like the movie a lot when it's just crazy, insane amount of humor just coming at you. Sometimes it's way too much. There's too much shit going on all at once. And it was really just more distracting than comical. And also, the puns. I am so... I don't like pun humor. I could take it in this movie to a certain degree, but some of them, it got to be like pun overload at times, and it kind of became too much for me. And I understand, I saw all the puns in the trailer, and I still decided to go see it anyway, with friends, which, it's gonna be fun anyway, but just those puns, I mean, damn. And also, one of the things I really liked about the first film was the relationship between Flint Lockwood and his dad, who's played really well by James Caan, voiced really well by James Caan. And I kind of felt like that relationship was underwhelming in this film, and they were going for the heart-to-heart moments, and it worked. There's a part at the beginning that works really well, but it just felt underwhelming to me compared to the first movie, which had a really, really sweet, heartwarming ending. And the ending to this is just like, well, okay, alright, it's over, whatever. And I can't say anything about the 3D. I didn't see it in 3D. And judging by like how much shit was coming out at the screen, this would actually be kind of cool to go see in 3D. Hey, some anime movies are just made for 3D, and I believe, even though I saw it in 2D, this looks like it's one of them. So, also, this doesn't really have anything to do with my score. Let me talk about what I thought of it overall. Overall, I thought it was an okay movie. It's legitimate family entertainment. And, that's another con I wanted to talk about. I thought some of the humor, because they do the pun where it's like, holy crapos, or something like that. And they slip in like the swear words in the background, and they have some jokes that just really do not work. Like there's a fart joke where it's like, oh, let's cut through this cheese, and then they cut the cheese and it's like, and the farting. I mean, the kids in the theater I saw with, they were laughing their asses off when that fart noise came on, and I kind of just rolled my eyes like, okay, it's a kids movie, they gotta have the fart joke. But overall, if this is good, not good, but I thought it was okay. But for kids, oh my god, kids are gonna eat this shit up, and good for them. These movies are made for them, mostly for them. So if it appeals to kids, hey, you could do a lot worse. You could go see Planes, for fuck's sake. That looks awful. You can go to Smurfs 2. I'd rather watch this 10 times in a row than Smurfs 2 at least once. And I'm gonna say it again. Even though Despicable Me 2 was an enormous success, I didn't like it at all. So I would gladly watch this over Despicable Me 2 again. So overall, I think it's an okay movie. For anyone else besides kids, I think it's okay. It's a lot more tolerable than most kids movies that are coming out right now that just go, ooh, ah, look at me, ooh, hee, ha, ooh, ah, look at my hands, I'm moving my hands, oh, it's 3D. I don't think this movie is like that. It actually calms down at points, and it gives you something to latch on, emotionally to latch onto. And if let's see, if I were to give it a score, I would say, I'm debating whether to go with number, a grade, or a star. You know, I'm gonna go with a grade. I give it a B minus. I would say it's a B minus. So, also, you know, I just want to talk. I'm gonna give a little side note at the end, but this is the end of my review of this movie. So, anyway, if you like what you see, subscribe, and as always, thank you for watching. Have a good one. Okay, so side note. I'm getting, honestly, also with, you know, there's a lot of, because I saw a lot of trailers for these CGI animated movies coming out, like Freebirds, which actually looks okay. This one called The Nut Job, which does not look all that good, and Frozen and Rio 2. Ugh, oh god, I do not like the first Rio at all. So Rio 2 just looked, I don't like Blue Sky Animation, because I just think they're terrible joke writers. I'm getting weary of CGI animated movies. And don't get me wrong, I don't hate CGI animated movies. My favorite movie of all time is a CGI animated movie. But there's just something more charming and a much more charming aesthetic to, and I was talking about this with a friend the other day, how we don't have that many hand-drawn and stop-motion animated films these days anymore. You really have to go for more of, like, the much more non-mainstream studios these days to get, like, the great hand-drawn and the great stop-motion animation stuff. And for a big animation fan like me, it's kind of sad that mainstream rejects a lot of stop-motion and hand-drawn stuff, because that's what I was raised on. I was raised on hand-drawn animation, and, you know, like Toy Story and A Bug's Life, some CGI animation, but that was back then when it was like, this is the new thing, this is awesome, and it looks beautiful. And don't get me wrong, there are still CGI animated films that look stunning. Cloudy with a Chance Meatballs looks stunning and it's CGI animated. The Croods was stunning. One of the best looking animated films I've ever seen. And Monster University, not stunning, like as a, but like it looked great. But as demonstrated with last year's Paranorman and Frankenweenie, I'm starting to miss stop motion because there's a certain charm with it. And people, much more than with CGI animation, people have to put lots and lots and lots of time and man-hour into these stop-motion and hand-drawn films. It feels like the animators are putting their heart and soul into creating these films because they know it takes a lot longer to make hand-drawn stop-motion than it does CGI animation. So I think some people get way too carried away with the CGI animation, and it loses that magic that I think comes with the work and the effort that goes into making much more traditional animation. And I want to bring up an example with Frozen. I want to compare what's coming out from Disney, actually. Frozen and like the 90s stuff they used to do. I'm going to compare... Okay, I'm going to compare Little Mermaid to Frozen. Little Mermaid is hand-drawn animation, and they wanted to make it big they wanted it to be loud without being so in your face and like assaulting your senses with shit. So I really don't understand, like, and also with the jokes. There's a lot of jokes in Little Mermaid. They're more, like, really low-key, and they're funny because they don't come at you and go, ooh, ah, look at me, ooh, ah. And then I want to compare it also to, there's Frozen. Now there's Frozen, which I think looks terrible. And I was really disappointed by this new trailer because I heard this is going to be a musical. I don't know whether... A friend of mine said they might be keeping the music under wraps. It could be so good. I never know. It could be so good that this music, that they're just hiding it until you go see the movie. Which, you know, if they're doing that, I could always be wrong. And I hope I am proven wrong with my original feelings about Frozen. My impressions right now of it. Because they are not good. They're like bottom of the barrel right now. It looks plasticky as far as the animation goes. It does not have that charm and the heart and soul of animators that Little Mermaid does, because you know people worked their asses off for that movie. And here it looks more like another routine animated film. And another thing, I do not like Tangled. I really do not like Tangled. And I just, when seeing the trailer for Frozen, that's all I could think about was just Tangled. How it was just this, it was another one of those things where it was just loud and obnoxious and so in your face most of the time without being clever or really having anything funny or new to say. And it's the same thing with this fucking snowman in Frozen, where the snowman has to be all like, "Ooh, I'm Goofy. Ooh, my body's gonna go all over the place. Oh, I'm gonna be this walking clown. Ooh, ha ha." And I get that he's the comic relief, but it looks like there's a lot of comedy in Frozen already without that snowman. And when they bring the snowman, I had already had enough of the humor without the snowman. And then when they brought in the snowman in the trailer, I just went, oh god, oh, one of these guys again. And really, they're doing, I think they're repeating a joke from Tangled, where they have the horse that is like the sarcastic kind of, like he has a mind of his own, he's like a character himself. They have, like, it was a small hint in Frozen, but I think they stole that joke. They just ripped that joke right out of Tangled with the horse and put it in Frozen. And I'll have to see, but it feels hollow to me, this new kind of animation, where it's not new, but I'm getting weary of the stop motion. God damn it. I'm getting weary of CGI animation because I want to see more creative stuff. I want to see the passion and artistic genius of animators put on screen. I don't want to see another routine CGI animated film. That there's a lot of them out there, and a lot of them repeat the same story over and over and over and over again. And I'm just getting tired of it. I want to see more stuff like Paranorman, which was fantastic. That is one of the best animated movies I've seen in a long time. So was Frankenweenie, which was Tim Burton's triumphant return to quality after Alice in Wonderland and Dark Shadows. That was excellent. Even Rise of the Guardians, that was CGI animation, but that was excellent because I felt the passion of animators in that movie. I felt the creativity. And I do not see any passion in Frozen. I just see another routine distractor for kids. And this is coming from fucking Disney, who I grew up on. And it makes me sad because they used to make fantastic movies. Some of my all-time favorite movies are Disney movies because they had passion, because they were new, because they were going grandiose and Broadway-esque without being obnoxious and just tiresome. And also, another example, just 2 years ago, they made that Winnie the Pooh movie that had the very unfortunate case of releasing alongside with Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows Part 2, where that thing just got buried because Disney, I don't think Disney had any hope or confidence in that movie. And that movie was amazing. That was such an amazing trip down memory lane for me to watch, and it was in traditional hand-drawn animation, and it was fantastic. It looked so beautiful, and I could feel passion. That's that word. I keep repeating it, but I mean it. Passion. Even if it's a dumb idea, like I'm gonna go to Phil Lord and Chris Miller's next movie, the Lego movie. That could be the worst thing ever. Like, when you think in your head, they're making a Lego movie. Oh, God. Come on. That is your first reaction. That was my first reaction. how it's like they're making this big Lego movie, and I just rolled my eyes and went, oh great, they're gonna do that crap. But then you see the trailer for it, and it's actually really funny, because these guys put passion into it. And they obviously they want to honor the Lego license that has influenced kids' childhoods for years. Many, many years. And they have passion for it. But I don't see any passion in Frozen. Really don't see it in stuff like Rio 2 or The Nut Job, which it's coming out in January, so I'm pretty sure that is going to bomb like crazy. And this is like a call out, a shout out to Hollywood. Please make more traditionally animated stuff and stop motion stuff. Disney, and even though Princess and the Frog, I don't like Princess and the Frog, that was a step in the right direction for Disney with the hand-drawn shit. And then they just went right back to the CGI with Tangled. And then they proved once again that they can do it with Winnie the Pooh. So I'm like, what the fuck, Disney? Are you just gonna keep making just this generic crap all over and over again because it makes money and because you know kids will come in and eat it up like it's candy? I mean, hey, this is coming from a huge Disney fan. I do not like talking shit about Disney, but in this case, I have to give some tough love because these guys are not on the right track as far as Hollywood is not on the right track as far as animation should go. I mean, you have the rare exceptions like Studio Ghibli, which, oh my god, The Wind Rises cannot get here soon enough for me. Also, you got Pixar, which these guys, some of the most passionate animators out there, they make quality stuff almost every year. Except Cars and Cars 2, which were crap. And you got Laika now, which made Coraline and Paranorman, and they're coming out with another film in September called The Box Trolls, which looks great. Also, I think you've got another Henry Selick movie coming out, who did The Nightmare Before Christmas and Coraline, and James and the Giant Peach. He's got a movie coming out called, I believe it's called The Shadow King, which is stop motion animation and looks great. Even I've just seen one poster of it. The animation looks fantastic. And this is a call out to go really support different kinds of animation besides CGI animation. Because you know what's going to happen? We're going to get used to it. Like, really, even with the non-success of Smurfs 2 and Turbo, kids are really starting to get tired of it. I can see the seeds being planted for the downfall of CGI animation. Because we're doing it way too much. Like, literally, almost every animated film out there right now, mainstream, is CGI animation. So I think you need to give diversity to kids so they can let them experience stuff. Like, Paranorman is a fantastic starting point for a little kid who wants to get into movies. Because it teaches life lessons, it's funny, it's charming, it has a great message about acceptance at the end. And how different people act differently, and just because they're different doesn't mean you can judge them. And it was just a great starting point for kids. And I really don't see how Frozen, or The Nut Job, or Rio 2, or even Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs 2, I do not see how these can be... I'm pretty sure I'm wrong. I'm sure there is going to be one little kid that sees this movie, blows his fucking mind, and in like 15 years from now, he's going to be the way I am about Lion King and Toy Story, how he goes, oh, I remember my nostalgia for Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs 2. And I have no ill will towards that. That's perfectly fine, but I just think we need to see more quality animation out there. So, thanks for listening to my speech about my opinion on the current CGI animation, because I do this out of love for animation, because a lot of people say I have a bias towards animation, and that might be true, but it's gotta be good. I'm not just gonna say, oh, this is instantly better because it's animation. You gotta have some quality to back, you gotta have the writing quality, to back up the animation quality, or it will just be a fucking disaster. So anyway, once again, thanks for listening. Subscribe. Have a good one.